On the 2nd of November 1987, Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal, Chancellor of the University of London, inaugurated a new School of Medicine, which combined 5 institutions: the School of Medicine of University College London, the Middlesex Hospital Medical School, and the postgraduate institutes of laryngology and otology, orthopedics, urology, and nephrology. The new UCL Medical School was created to meet the needs of the 1990s and does so by drawing on the strengths and traditions of its member institutions. The medical school is also a major constituent of University College London, incorporating the 2 faculties of life sciences and clinical sciences. Medical students undertake 2 years of traditional university-based teaching on the preclinical course taught within the Faculty of Life Sciences.
We are going to stretch. What we're going to do is we're going to make a little tiny cut at the top, right in the groin.
This is followed by 3 years on the clinical course, organized by the Faculty of Clinical Sciences, where teaching is primarily undertaken on the ward, often at the bedside or in outpatient clinics. Students may also opt to undertake an additional year to gain an intercalated BSc, normally as a break between the preclinical and clinical years, or to enter for an integrated MB-PhD program. Early clinical training takes place at UCL hospitals and the Whittington Hospital, and thereafter many district general hospitals are used, which add a further dimension to clinical training. At the end of their 5 or 6 years of training, medical students are awarded the degrees of Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery, known as the MBBS. These degrees are always awarded together. UCL Medical School has been ranked as the leading school of medicine in the country. It is the closeness of the clinical facilities to the strong base of world-class research and science at UCL that has been instrumental in the medical school achieving this position. With the affiliation of the Royal Free Hospital School of Medicine, the Institute of Neurology, the Institute of Child Health, and the Institute of Ophthalmology, it is a position that will be unsurpassed for many years to come. Graduates will be proud that they have attended this medical school. The UCL Medical School presentation ceremony is unique amongst the ceremonies at UCL, as it is held within a few days of the final examination results being published. However, the presentation ceremony isn't the end of the story. All graduates automatically become members of the Alumnus Association, which holds regular reunions, events for young alumni, regional alumnus groups, and prestigious functions attended by famous alumni and leading public figures. There is also a strong program of postgraduate training for doctors and many programs of continuing education in all other subject areas. Many students maintain their membership of UCL Union to continue extracurricular activities, theatre, music, and even television. It is hoped that the presentation ceremony will see the beginning of a new and mutually beneficial involvement with UCL and the medical school for many years to come.
Please be seated. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Medical School's Presentation Day. We're delighted to see you all here, and I hope that the various groups that are represented in the hall are all delighted to be here. I'm grateful to my colleagues on the academic staff for giving up their time today. Clinical and academic life becomes ever more demanding and competitive. But as a consequence, we're delighted to be here to relax and to take satisfaction from the success of another cohort of students in their final examinations. It's a great pleasure also to welcome so many members of the families of our former students. I know this is a day of great pride and perhaps not a little relief to you all. Many of you will have shared moments of stress with the graduates, particularly perhaps during the last few weeks, and one of the purposes of today is to give you an opportunity to celebrate their success. However, for those that have passed MBBS, or doctors as we now call you, this is a most special day. And so I hope the rest of the audience will forgive me if I direct most of my remarks to the graduates. Presentation day becomes difficult for a dean after 7 years, because in all honesty, I know I can't go on saying year after year, you're the best year that we've ever had in the medical school. Because there is a limit to that progression. However, you have been another outstanding year. And in the 7 years, I've never known a better year than your year. The results have been very good. The external examiners have been very complimentary. We're about to hear about many honors and prize winners. And perhaps most of all, you've not just been studying hard during your time here. Some of you have contributed significantly to life in the Students' Union, to the sports teams, to various artistic endeavors, and I think I can include the Christmas concert amongst those, to the winning of prizes for extracurricular activities, and above all, I think you've all enjoyed yourselves. In fact, I know one or two that have really enjoyed themselves in their time in medical school. And perhaps that's the first memory I'd like you to take away from UCL Medical School, that it is possible for you to enjoy yourself at the same time as tackling difficult and demanding tasks. And there are quite a number of those still to come, I'm afraid. But it continues to be a very exciting prospect, qualifying into the medical profession. Some of that excitement comes from advances in our understanding of disease processes and developments in therapeutics. About every 10 years, each one of you will be able to look back over the previous 10 years and recognize some advance or some new treatment that has transformed the management of a group of patients. In addition to advances in biomedicine, I think you will also note, though, during your first few years after qualification, a change in emphasis of what the government is going to ask of the National Health Services. I believe that there will be a greater emphasis on public health rather than just on health services. And that's not public health just in the narrow sense of the control of microbial diseases and the provision of safe water and safe food, although of course there will be a food standards agency created in this country in the next few years. No, it's public health in the very broadest sense. The recognition that people's health is as much determined about what goes on in the environment, what our transport policies are, what our policies are about job creation, and most importantly perhaps, whether each individual has a sense of their own importance in the society in which they live. This is a very complex process which requires many agencies and many individuals to work together. And this ability to work with others across boundaries is one of the great challenges of modern life. You will have your first taste of that when you start as pre-registration house officers, believe it or not, on August the 1st of this year. You will then join a team in your own profession and with many other professions that contribute to modern health services. You will be as important in that team as anyone, and I know that you will be striving to do the job as well as you can. And that perhaps is the second message that I would like you to take away from UCL Medical School, the question of quality. League tables are universal now and a regular feature of all our lives. During your time here, I think that UCL Medical School has consistently been judged to be among the top 3 medical schools in the UK. You will have observed some very high quality clinical and academic work during your studies, and I hope that you will aspire to such qualities in whatever specialty you choose. You will have some idea, I think, and I hope you will be pleased by the changes in junior doctor training that you are about to undertake. It does seem to me that the focus now is on producing well-educated and well-trained specialists who will move in a measured way into senior posts. I guess you think that such posts are a long way off, but I think they will come to you surprisingly quickly. Once you're in those senior posts, I hope that you will endeavour to undertake best practice, and this, of course, will be based on our developing understanding of disease and its management, often through research. And that, perhaps, is the last message I would like you to take away from UCL Medical School, the importance of research. You will have been aware of some very high research achievements and the very high research reputation of UCL Medical School. One or two of you will go on to a substantial career in some aspects of academic or research medicine. The exciting thing, of course, is that we can't predict at this stage, or not very accurately, which one or two of you that will be, and I dare say that neither can you. At a simpler but just as important level, the need to research and to investigate will touch you all. From time to time, each of you will be faced with puzzling and perhaps contradictory findings, and sometimes by searching the literature, and sometimes by experimental work, you will resolve them. I firmly believe that your education here at UCL Medical School, in a strong research environment, will have prepared you well for those sort of tasks. Before my final remarks, I wonder if I might make one or two announcements. Firstly, let me say to the graduands that you are now eligible to join the Alumnus Club of UCL, and specifically the Hospitals Club, which is available, of course, to former medical students. Through either or both of those, we hope to keep in touch with you, and we hope that you will want to keep in touch with both your contemporaries and with the school itself. Secondly, may I say to families and friends that over 200 people will pass across this stage during the next half hour or so. If you applaud them all individually, you will get relatively tired and your hands will be sore by the end of that process. It's better if you wait for a signal to applaud which my colleague Professor Wolf will give you, approximately every 10th person or thereabouts. Finally, to the graduands, if I appear to be maneuvering myself into a position which stops you getting across this stage as quickly as you would like to, that is exactly what I'm trying to do. And that's for the purposes of the video and for some photographs. Success for medical students is the result of a complex set of interactions. There is the ability of the individual students, which of course we can now take for granted. There is the support of family and friends, and perhaps the bank managers are worth a mention here as well. And there is an important contribution from academic and clinical staff. Finally, there is the requirement for large and complex organizations, a university, and many teaching hospitals. So during our applause for the graduands and the prize winners, I'm sure that each of us will be paying tribute to the contribution of others. The graduands will be thanking their families and the staff. The families and the staff will be congratulating the graduands. And the deanery and the administration, once again, will be thanking you all for contributing to the success of the class of 1997. Thank you very much.
Vice Provost, I'm very pleased to present to you the following students who've been successful in their MBBS examinations and who have achieved distinction in certain elements of those examinations. With distinction in medicine, Quentin Anstey. With distinction in medicine, Nicola Agnameni. With distinction in medicine, clinical pharmacology and pathology, Paul Bentley. With distinction in surgery, clinical pharmacology, obstetrics and gynecology, and pathology, Melanie Burnitz. With distinction in clinical pharmacology and obstetrics and gynecology, Martin Chambers. With distinction in pathology, Jemmy Chung. With distinction in surgery, Vanessa Cluett. With distinction in pathology and clinical pharmacology, Tamsin Degorike Griffith. With distinction in surgery, Patrick Feeney. With distinction in clinical pharmacology, Fiona Hamilton. With distinction in clinical pharmacology, Elizabeth Hinton. With distinction in clinical pharmacology and obstetrics and gynecology, Francis Humby. With distinction in medicine, Adam Jakes. With distinction in clinical pharmacology, Jasjit Kalsi. With distinction in surgery, Richard Lawrence. With distinction in medicine and obstetrics and gynecology, Michelle Lockley. With distinction in obstetrics and gynecology, Chi Yi Lung. With distinction in obstetrics and gynecology, Claire Manning. With distinction in obstetrics and gynecology, Nicholas Moore. With distinction in medicine and surgery, Helen Neighbor. With distinction in surgery, Catherine Piccinelli. With distinction in surgery, Alison Pitt. With distinction in clinical pharmacology, Mark Pritchard. With distinction in medicine, Andrew Richardson. With distinction in surgery, Antonio Saha. With distinction in medicine and obstetrics and gynecology, Paul Simons. With distinction in surgery, Christina Thirlwell. With distinction in obstetrics and gynecology, Kate Wallum. With distinction in surgery, Graham Wilding. With distinction in medicine, surgery, clinical pharmacology, and obstetrics and gynecology, Martin Wildman. With distinction in surgery, last but by no means least, Anne Williams. Vice Provost, I'm now pleased to present to you those students who have been successful in their MBBS examinations. Aini Ab Aziz. Sukbir Aluwalia. Shadan Alam. Mark Alban. Azar Ali. Sarah Anderson. Jennifer Anderson. Christopher Armitstead. Yunus Asmal. Zoe Astrolakis. Katharina Aylward. Kashaf Aziz. David Bacon. Ashish Banerjee. Ross Barker. Charlotte Benjamin. Jonathan Bird. Stephen Blake. Sarah Bourne. Paul Brennan Benson. Kathy Bruce. Matthew Burridge. Tahira Butt. Melanie Carter. Michael Chapman. Ha Nguyen Chow. Alexander Chen. Ruth Chung. Suzanne Chu. Michael Cohen. Caroline Cook. Naomi Crouch. Rita Das. William Davis. Mark Davison. Lorna Day. John Delaney. Parminder Dillon. Maria Dimitrakos. John Dirty. Susan Darling. Sienna Eisenhandler. Tahira Elahi. Sean Field. Amanda Finn. Mark Fish. And believe it or not, Abigail Fry. Catherine Gill. Liza Gladman. Michael Glasby. Michelle Glover. Alexander Green. Richard Griffiths. Rebecca Hadley. Kevin Hamilton. Gavin Hancock. Lucy Hastings. Claire Hawker. Mark Hawkins. Mohammed Hossein Ibrahim. Penny Hodson. Syed Hussain. Nicola Hutchison. Lawrence James. Nishan Jayasinghe. Lawrence John. Andrew Jones. David Jones. Robin Jones. How lucky we're not in Cardiff, Vice Provost. Giles Kendall. Imtiaz Khan. Neelam Kurwal. Yolanta Kreiser. Sarah Lang. Andrew McBain. David McLennan. Katie Marden. Alan McLennan. Jason Millington. Ahmed Mohammed. Ramani Moonsinghi. John Moore. Henry Morris. Charlotte Moss. James Moult. Wendy Monroe. Cleona Murphy. Salim Mushtaq. James Myerson. Syed Naki. Charlotte Newey. Delvin Ng. Andrew Noden. Sally Osborne. Alistair Pan. Aslam Piazada. Fenella Powell. Richard Perkis. Aisha Rahim. Mohammed Rahman. Vijay Ranawat. Catherine Rank. Ju Yun Reem. Sarah Roberts. Simon Robinson. Nicholas Rogers. Alexander Sotel. Marjorie Savage. Ingrid Skur. Benjamin Sessa. Rakesh Shah. Kishan Shikotra. Kin Yi Shu. Alan Spears. Catherine Stanley. Emma Stockton. Catherine Sweeney. Najam Sieda. Vivian Tangang. Lynn Thomas. Rebecca Thomas. Joanne Thompson. Malcolm Tunnicliffe. David Vivian. Rebecca Ward. Sally Watkinson. Joanne Webber. Audrey Wenadin. Robert White. James Whitticase. Peter Williams. Thomas Wilson. Ingrid Wolfe. Joe Woodhouse. Syed Yassin. Stephen Young. Mohammed Zaman. Vice Provost, I'm now very pleased to present to you the prize winners from the preclinical course. First-year prizes, the Huntington Life Sciences Prize in Histology, Guy Sanders. Drummond Prize for Examination Performance in Chemistry of the Cell and Genetics, Vivian Chen. Merck Sharp and Dome Prize in Chemistry of the Cell and Genetics, Philip Jung. SEMA Computer Prize in Medical Statistics and Biometry, and Frank Scott Prize for Best Aggregate Performance in Part 1, James Squire. The George and Thelma Paraskevaides Foundation Prize, Nabil Sheikh. Second-year prizes. The Wellcome Prize in Structural and Developmental Biology, Duncan McPherson. Drummond Prize in Functional and Chemical Changes in Disease, Ying Zi. The Clough Memorial Prize in Physiology, Liza Browning. The Joint Prankett-Jones Memorial Project Prize to Robert Jackson, Joska Reinhardt, and Jason Verrill. The Coxon-Gerard Prize in Mechanisms of Drug Action and the Meyerstein Scholarship for the Best Aggregate Performance in Parts 1 and 2, Juan Kasky. The Wyndham-Baring Prize in Infection, Immunity and Structure of Diseased Tissue, the Carter Prize in Immunology, the Clough Prize in Physiology, the Wyeth Prize for the Best Aggregate Performance in Part 2, and the Meyerstein Scholarship for the Best Aggregate Performance in Parts 1 and 2, George Tafaris. Now, Vice Provost, I'm very pleased to present to you the prize winners from the clinical course, first and second year prizes. The first John Murray and Sir William Gowers Prize in Clinical Pharmacology, Jonathan Burns. The first David Bailey, Erickson and Liston Prize in Surgery, Kevin Fong. The second David Bailey, Erickson and Liston Prize in Surgery, Bruce McManus. The Horace Jules Prize in Respiratory Medicine, Catherine Moore. The Horace Jules Prize in Public Health, Marco Karak. The joint first McGrath Prize for overall performance in the first clinical year and the first Philiter, Kingston Fowler and Tuke Prize in Pathology, Jonathan Balcom. And now we come to the final year and MBBS prizes. The Peter Flinton Prize in Anesthetics, Helen Neighbour. The Sir Thomas Lewis Prize in Cardiology, Glyn Thomas. The Geoffrey Duveen and Sidney Long Prize in Otorhinolaryngology, Adam Jakes. The first Freeman, McGrath and F.T. Roberts Prize in Obstetrics and Gynecology, Anne Williams. The second Freeman, McGrath and F.T. Roberts Prize in Obstetrics and Gynecology, Chi Yi Lung. The Alan Goldsmith Prize in Oncology, Richard Lawrence. The Bernard Hart Prize in Psychiatry, Charlotte Benjamin. The A.W. Beard and Bernard Hart Prize in Psychiatry, Paul Bentley. The first Aitchison, Suckling and Temple Freer Prize in Obstetrics and Gynecology, Claire Manning. Fairweather Prize in Obstetrics and Gynecology, Zoe Astrolakis. The Howard Murray Memorial and FMR Walsh Prize in Neurosurgery, Mohammed Hossein Ibrahim. Joint First General Practice Awards to Rita Das, Syed Naki, and Giles Kendall. The Joint John Briffa Prize for Outstanding Academic and Extracurricular Achievements to Richard Perkis, and Christina Thirlwell. The Lloyd Bland Prize for Extracurricular Activities, Ramani Munsinghi. Joint Archibald Ferguson Prizes for Personal Qualities in Patient Care, Kathy Bruce. And Sally Watkinson. First Geoffrey Chinnock-Jones, James McIntosh and Lucy Chaplin Prize in Pathology, Jemmy Chung. Alan Goldsmith Prize in Ophthalmology and H. Beldero, E. Hart and M. Dawkins Prize in Pediatrics, Paul Simons. Chadwick Prize in Preventive Medicine in Public Health, John Jepson Memorial Prize, and Joint Second General Practice Award, Delvin Ng. Jenna Living Prize in Dermatology and Jackie Woodhouse Prize in Hematology, Andrew McBain. Fitton Prize in Orthopedics and first Philip Seth Belasco and Douglas Cree Prize in Medicine, Quentin Anstey. Hetley and Atchison Clinical Prize for Part F and second Philip Seth Belasco and Douglas Cree Prize in Medicine, Nicola Anyameni. First Zeneca, Hobbiger and Peter Flinton Prizes in Clinical Pharmacology and second Atchison Prize for overall performance in Parts A to E, Tamsin de Corrique Griffith. Joint Second General Practice Award. First Lyle and Leopold Hudson Prize in Surgery. Second Zeneca, Hobbiger and Peter Flinton Prize in Clinical Pharmacology. Second Geoffrey Chinnock-Jones, James McIntosh and Lucy Chaplin Prizes in Pathology. and second Brodrup and Aitchison Prize for overall performance in MBBS, Melanie Burnitz. Great Ormond Street Prize in Child Health. Second Atchison Suckling and Temple Freer Prizes in Obstetrics and Gynecology. Second Lyle and Leopold Hudson Prize in Surgery. And first Brodrup and Atchison Prize for overall performance in MBBS, Martin Wildman. I'm sure after that cathartic experience, what you would like me to say, like Prospero, is our revels now are ended. But I'm not going to do that. It is the custom on these occasions for a few valedictory words to be said, and this year it's fallen to me to say them. Robert Louis Stevenson once wrote that an old lady in Edinburgh had told him that one of life's greatest mysteries was where the awful medical students had gone to and where all the delightful doctors had come from. I am quite unable to answer the first part of her question because, like Professor Malone Lee, who's with us today, I hold the view that there is no such thing as an awful medical student. But I am, however, quite sure where the nice doctors come from, and that, of course, is University College London. I'm confident that the families of the graduates today will support me in this view, and I hope that they have enjoyed the occasion as hugely as we on the platform have done. Now I turn to my new colleagues, the nearly 200 new doctors. University College is, as I'm sure you will agree, a uniquely informal and unstuffy institution. But today, an unusual degree of ceremony has prevailed. We've had music, we've had a procession, we've had an address from the Vice Provost, and we've had the annual display of silly hats by the senior members of the academic staff. Can it be, I ask myself, that we are trying to tell you that there is something rather special about today? And I think the answer to that question must be yes, and I'll try very briefly to tell you what's special about today and what the message is that we would like you to take away from today. There is a prominent man of the theatre who was ennobled a year or two back by the last government, and he is the chairman of a company called the Really Useful Group. And today, you nearly 200 brand new doctors have become full participating shareholders, not in Lord Lloyd Webber's company, but in something known as the really useful profession, medicine, which, unlike virtually all others, makes enormous demands on the qualities of both head and heart. And today's unwonted ceremony marks the fact that from today, now, and for the rest of what I trust will be long and happy working lives, you are assuming the huge responsibilities which come from being members of the medical profession. And you can share fully in the equally huge joys that come from caring for and being useful to others. You are, in a very real sense, the inheritors of those who have gone before you and who've made our profession one which, even in these cynical times, still occupies a unique place of trust and honor in the community. And we in the school who've seen you grow and mature, both in terms of intellect and character, are confident that you will always try to be worthy of their trust. And so, on this day, alas, the last, when all of you in the class of 1997 will be together under one roof, all of us here wish you great fulfillment as you begin your life's journey as doctors.